The Michael Berry Show.
What actually started the LA riots, the plan was in place, but this is when they pushed the button. Tom Homan has said they were serving a series of criminal warrants on a particular business that was being investigated for money laundering for the drug cartels. That business is also suspected of human trafficking. People being hauled away from Home Depot parking lots or from sanctuary cities where they're held in jail and weren't being released, or they have warrants out and they go in and raid them, that's not what set this off. If you hear anything I say today, let it be this. These riots have nothing to do with deportations. Nothing. The United States government was raiding a particular business that is alleged to be a money laundering front for the cartels. Whether you've seen Ozark or you just understand the basis, the cartels make billions in this country. But they have to wash that money. They have to put it into places that look like businesses that can then throw off cash that can be reported to the IRS, that can be used to get a loan from a bank, that can be used to have a bank account. Well, my goodness, Mr. Carlos Torres, why do you have $150 million in your bank account? Just kind of do? Well, that's why they put this money into businesses that they can then use as a front. When the United States government went in and raided them to investigate money laundering and child and sex trafficking, that's when the cartels called in the big dogs. That's when they said, this has to be stopped. See, your average illegal alien, they can't coordinate all this. They can't have pallets of bricks delivered to buildings. But the cartels can. Trump has said from day one he wants to declare war on the cartels. And he has said from day one they are more powerful and more concerning to us. You know, we have sent a fortune to Ukraine while the cartels are on our block. Had a guy say to me that the federal law enforcement officer, and he made the point, he said, if you ask CIA officers who work around the world, who worries you the most? It's not the Chinese, it's not the Russians. It's not the Iranis or the North Koreans. Who worries them the most is the cartels. Because the Russians don't have somebody on your street. The Russians don't follow you to work where you live in Sealy or Sugar Land or Beaumont or Bastrop. But the cartels do. They have insinuated themselves and embedded themselves in American life. And what you're seeing, they're keeping their fingerprints off of it as much as they possibly can. What you're seeing right now is the manifestation of that. This is war. The United States government under Trump is disrupting their business. And they're very carefully placed operatives who launder the money, who traffic the children, who have the routes, who deliver, who pick up, who work at the bank. Obviously, there are people involved in this who do not have Mexican-sounding last names, who have Irish and English and French and German names, who've lived in L.A. for 20 or 40 years, who appear to be respectable. Those networks are difficult to erect and to maintain and to keep covered up. If the federal government can expose that, and yes, there will be Mexican connections, and there will be some people in the country illegally as part of all that. But it's not the illegal immigration that has them concerned. It is the shutting down of a massive business enterprise that is bigger than almost any American business you can imagine. It's hard to know how big because a revenue analyst cannot look at their reported statements to the SEC and their 5 top paid executives. There's no way to measure their market cap. These are very, very violent organizations. Head choppings, hanging from overpasses, mass murders, killing journalists and judges, politicians and police. And Trump is taking the war to them. So the question is, do you wait and let them terrorize Los Angeles and every American city on June 14th, or do you take the battle to them? And I think that's the point where we are. We've also reached, I think, a point where a lot of Americans are going to have to ask themselves a question. How did we allow this to happen? How did we allow our kids to come home and tell us that we stole this land from indigenous people? How did we allow white people to become so guilt-riddled that if a brick is thrown at their head, they don't feel comfortable putting a bullet in the person who just did it? How did we allow our municipalities to have a Karen Bass as the mayor? How many people whose homes were burned in Palisades, who were very wealthy, said, I am embarrassed I voted for Karen Bass? Well, then why did you? It didn't matter to you till they burned down your home? Wow.
The Michael Berry Show.